We're live at Clinton Prairie High School here on the ISC Sports Network alongside Laura Archibald. I'm Kurt Darling. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. We apologize for our lateness in getting to this match as we were unaware of the moved up start time of tonight's varsity matchup between the Clinton Prairie Gophers and the Carroll Cougars. Laura, good to be with you here tonight as right now we are midway through set number 2, and right now it has been all Carroll as they are up 18-9.
They are, and I believe Clinton Prairie took the first game, so Carroll's glad to be getting back into this match with the lead in game 2.
So the Carroll Cougars coming off of a loss to Western just a couple of nights ago as they now bring a 2-5 record into this contest. Meanwhile, Clinton Prairie also coming off of a loss, that being against Faith Christian in a grinder of a match going 5 sets, losing 3 sets to 2. So right now, Clinton Prairie on top 18-10 here midway through set number 2, with Clinton Prairie up 1 set to nothing here in this contest. And we're going to be seeing a lot of different players for Clinton Prairie tonight, but certainly limited players for Carroll as they only have about 6 or 7 players that they have in their regular rotation. And there's an excellent point earned right there by Clinton Prairie as Avery Brooks continues to serve here in set number 2.
Yes, and certainly one thing that Clinton Prairie has an advantage of is depth of their bench. Numbers certainly much more than Carroll, and that will play for to their advantage tonight since both of these teams have had very good matches earlier in the week.
2 Hoosier Heartland Conference opponents going at it here tonight. As Clinton Prairie, this is going to be their very first Hoosier Heartland opponent here at this season, after having openers against North Montgomery and Faith Christian as well. That one going out there. So Carroll will take over on the serve here. And here we see Haley Bowman, who is one of the big leading scorers for Carroll, as she has 107 career kills coming into this contest, but she has a service error right there, has 11 aces on the season coming into this one.
Yeah, Haley's a nice leader for the Carroll team. She played almost all the time, all the way around last season. She's a good go-to player for the Carroll Cougars, a rare error from her.
67 kills on the season coming into this one and 21 sets played. A short serve, nicely done there from Clinton Prairie, and it results in an ace for the Gophers. And a nice little touch, a good effort there from Bowman to get the fist underneath it for the Cougars, but nothing doing from the rest of the team. And an identical serve again. This time, Carroll's able to clean it up. That's Grace Ayers on the return, leading scorer for the Cougars this season. And Bowman opts to bail it out, kind of catching the Gophers by surprise, and it pays off for the Cougars.
I think they had Lady Luck on their side with a net on that play, but they'll take it at this point.
The Cougars under the tutelage of Denny Crum in his so far a 179 and 103 record since 2013. Meanwhile, Lindsey Charles in her 3rd season as the head coach of the Gophers, and she certainly likes to see that from her players. A big kill right there from, looks like, Katie Marcinko. And no, that's actually Abby Swan, the younger of the 2 Swan sisters on this Gophers squad. As you see the elder Swan, Sydney Swan,
and
serving it up.
Clinton Prairie still kind of working things out. Saw Abby earlier in the season. I don't know how much earlier it gets, but last week primarily doing setting duty, but they've already moved her into some more offense and have her hitting more. I think that's a good move on Coach Charles's part. They were hurting a little bit for offense. Moving Abby to hitting from the front row has definitely given them some more offensive power.
Abby Swan leading the team in assists this season. 62 assists coming into this one, so that just goes to show you how much of a role she plays in setting up her older sister, who leads the team in kills, 47 this season. And there's a nice little push by the younger Swan, and actually you get Caitlin Beck in there as well.
Yeah, it's nice to see the strategy, and I like to see coaches who aren't afraid to mix it up here early in the season. I always think that Lindsey Charles is one of those coaches, if something's not working, she's going to try to find something else, a different formula. And she wasn't pleased with how they looked in the first week of the season. So she changed things up. And to her credit, I think the changes she made have really helped. And I don't know that they would have pulled that match out against Faith the other night without the changes that she made.
And it was certainly a grinder of a match against the Eagles as that service error goes out of play. That was one of the sticking points against Faith Christian for this Gophers squad, is they had too many aces just sail out of play for them.
Absolutely. They have to cut down on the unforced errors.
So here is Grace Ayers, the senior Dynamo scorer here for the Cougars. And Swan gets a lifting violation called on her, resulting in a point here for the Cougars. As we take a look at this one, just a little bit too soft.
I think one of the things that Clinton Prairie really needs to work on is consistency. You certainly see them with runs where they are just about unstoppable, but then you will also see them with runs where it is error after error after error. And they really have a lot of experience on that court, and I think Coach Charles would like to see a lot more consistency out of this Gopher team.
Set point here for the Carroll Cougars to try and knot this match up at 1 game apiece. Here's the elder Swan loading it up from the back line. And again, the Cougars just forced to kind of bail out here for now, and unforced errors, as you said there, Laura, gives the set to the Cougars. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, set number 3, all knotted up at 1 match apiece right here on the ISC Sports Network.
Many communities in rural America are often overlooked as underserved. These communities are being left behind due to lack of internet and access to state-of-the-art technology. That's why Mulberry Telecommunications provides rural broadband services and technology, and is growing their presence in north central Indiana. Because every community deserves infrastructure and beyond. To learn more, contact us today.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC, local lives here.
Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is game time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
Ball here. Harris scores. With 19 seconds remaining.
Fake players, big boy. I'm telling you right now, that's awesome. I love it.
That's the finish. You get a layup to take it. And an and one. Fly ball.
One game apiece here at Clinton Prairie High School on the ISC Sports Network. 25-17 to set number 1 to Clinton Prairie. 25-16 set number 2 to Carroll. Alongside Laura Archibald, I'm Kurt Darling. Tonight's broadcast brought to you by the Healthy Communities of Clinton County, a coalition which was formed in 2006 as a partnership of healthcare providers, service care providers, educators, and community leaders who were interested in addressing health issues in Clinton County communities. Now, over 15 years later, the coalition is still committed to making permanent changes by encouraging policy, systems, and environmental changes with the desire to always make the healthy choice the easy choice. For more information, visit healthyclintoncounty.org. Getting set for set number 3 here at Clinton Prairie High School. Laura, once again, good to be with you. Kind of had to jump right into action here, but needless to say, kind of some initial thoughts here as Clinton Prairie coming off of that loss to Faith Christian. What do you think that they really have to have as a mentality coming into this match?
Well, I think one thing they have to do is have consistency, and that's one of the things that they've really been lacking. They have had some lineup changes, but this is the same lineup they played the other night, so they need to settle into this lineup. I think play a little more consistently, and use the leadership they have on the court. These are a lot of the same girls that played all the way around last year, and you wouldn't know it right now. So they need to settle in, decrease the unforced errors. On the Carroll side, they've kind of been all over the place too. I know Denny wasn't happy with the way that they played at their first tournament. I know that he wasn't pleased with that. So I know he wants them to settle down a little bit, and they look a lot better tonight than when I saw them the first tournament of the year.
On that last point, you saw a hard kill there from Grace Ayers, the leading scorer here for this Cougars squad, and that return from Clinton Prairie goes long, giving another point to the Cougars. And again, another good touch by Caitlin Beck, just a little bit too wide on that one. So keeping the serve now is Grace Ayers. 12 aces this season coming into it. And a nice little tap over there by Brooks. Ayers from the back line. Swan puts it into the net, though. She knows how to load up those once she's able to get it over the net.
Clinton Prairie really needs to pass better. You don't want to be stuck setting the back row all the time like that. I know Swan's their best hitter, but really they didn't have a lot of options. Once they get another pass right at the 10-foot line, they could get those passes up a little bit closer to the net, give the setters a little more options. That would certainly help their cause out a lot.
And that was Caitlin Beck again putting it into the net. So 4 straight points, all off of errors on the return from Clinton Prairie here in the early going of set number 3. Short serve there from Ayers. Loading it up back and going for the tip again is Brooks. Just kind of a frustrating little deficit right now here for Clinton Prairie as the Cougars right now on a 5-0 run to start this third set.
And that was a good block, but the other points that Carroll served have all been on unforced errors, unfortunately.
There's Swan putting it into the fist of Grace Good. Once again, right into the net. Maybe getting a block there were the Cougars. And if you're head coach Lindsey Charles, you're certainly telling your team to calm down and just try and keep things moving.
Yeah, I think if you don't get a side out here soon, you have to look at calling a timeout and settling your team down.
And finally, the Cougars let one by from Clinton Prairie. A big kill from Sydney Swan. And so a change up here, we'll see it. Julia Stillwell check back into the ball game. And Stillwell will put it in play. Ayers, a hard one right into the fist of Stillwell, and it results in a point and a kill for her.
If you're Clinton Prairie, you have to know that Carroll primarily goes to Bowman and Ayers. You have to know, have your middles cheat out that way a little bit. Take that block, get your blockers out there, take that sharp angle away from Carroll. 90% of the sets go to the outside on this team. This is not rocket science. I think if Clinton Prairie will stick to a game plan, they really have a much better chance to win this game than they think.
Sydney Swan with the nice touch, finding the open space. Hard return from Bowman, just a little long, and a point for Clinton Prairie. So Avery Brooks serving things up right now, has 2 aces on the season coming into it, a senior. And already 7 kills as well in the first 2 matches. And another service error from the Gophers off of Brooks.
That's unusual for her. She's usually a high percentage server.
And as we talked about earlier in the second set here, Laura, is the fact that the Gophers, the service errors, that was one of the things that really kept Faith Christian in the game on Tuesday. And so far it seems to be something that's still a sticking point, as well as unforced errors such as that.
Absolutely. Really, the other night between Faith and Clinton Prairie, at times it seemed like a match of unforced errors. Who's going to make a mistake first? And unfortunately, that's not uncommon early in this season. But Clinton Prairie's going to have to clean their game up quickly. And things like hitting errors, that's one thing. But serving errors, you're standing there, you're unopposed. You know, those are things you can have complete control over.
Tegan Cougars getting her first ace of the evening, 10 of those coming into the contest, keeping the Carroll rally going. Another awkward return there by Haven Wilson, but the tip is over the net there for Swan. Another kill, finding the open space.
That's been a very effective shot tonight, that little roll shot right over the block. Carroll is not defending that well. If I was Clinton Prairie, I'd keep doing that until they adjust to it.
And before the return comes off of the hands of Bowman, it goes into the net. And a point looked like a net violation on Carroll there, as Clinton Prairie will take over the serve. Long serve here from the Gophers.
Nice serve by Evie Brooks.
And a double hit from Olivia Stancard, the sophomore frontline player. Just not quite good contact there on that set, resulting in the double hit. And there is Swan, making sure it goes down that time, right off of the awkward return. Finding a lot more open space now. Swan, who had 500 kills just last season alone. I am not misspeaking when I say that. Setting a school record for kills in a single season at Clinton Prairie.
Yeah, and I don't know that it's that she's necessarily a better hitter than any other hitters that have been through Clinton Prairie, because there's been some phenomenal hitters through Clinton Prairie. But last year, certainly, she was by far the most dominant hitter they had, and they certainly went to her a lot, not only in the front row, but in the back row. They didn't have a very well-balanced attack, which gave her much more opportunity for kills than perhaps teams in the past, which had more balanced offenses, and I don't look for that to be any different this year.
Double hit there on Clinton Prairie. No, a lifting violation on Clinton Prairie. But of course, that dominance from Sydney Swan certainly helps when you have a younger sister you have such a good relationship with in setting things up.
It wouldn't surprise me if she'll leave the school with the overall kill record. You know, they've just not had a real balanced attack the entire time that she has been at Clinton Prairie. And so she's always kind of been the go-to every year that she's played, and I don't look for that to change. So. You know, this is her senior year. I think she's probably been the go-to player every single year, so it wouldn't surprise me if she leaves as the all-time kill leader.
Stangard getting a block there on Swan on the previous point. Meanwhile, the return on the serve here going just out of play here from Ayers. And that was awfully close, but a good call. Swan, short serve, just slipping it over the net. Here's Ayers, and gets a kill as the block goes foul there for Clinton Prairie.
It's just those little things, way early on the block, things that they just need to clean up. I mean, they were on her arm swing, good form, just way early.
Carroll here looking for their first win in 3 matches. They have lost their last 3 against Caston as well as Rossville and Western. Caitlin Beck on the return from Clinton Prairie. Ayers with a hard attack, and Beck can't finish. Another point to the Cougars.
Nice up by Katie Marcinko to get that set for her.
Marcinko, a junior. A utility player here for the Gophers this season so far.
I think this will build Carroll's confidence a lot if they can pull this match out. really been struggling the last few matches. So this would be good for their confidence to get a conference win.
Beck, a hard attack. Well dug there by Stangard. And the block into the net from Clinton Prairie. And so Carroll is pretty much riding their way through here on this set by many either errors or even unforced errors from Clinton Prairie.
And it always can make the conference interesting because Rossville and Carroll play early. Carroll and Prairie play early, but Prairie and Rossville play late. So Coach Charles is famous for making her teams much better as the season goes on. So by the time that Carroll and Prairie and Rossville play at the end of the season, this won't be the same Clinton Prairie team. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out in the conference standings.
Peaking at the right time, as it were.
Absolutely.
Here's Ayers off of the setup from Pontigo, and it goes long.
The team that could benefit the most from a Carroll victory tonight may be Rossville.
Here is Haven Wilson, the older of the two Wilson sisters on this roster. Dug by Swan. And there is the younger Swan Abbey with a kill and some change. Point to Clinton Prairie. Just threading the needle and finding the open space.
That's an excellent hit. I think that's exactly why Coach Charles moved her into the offense.
The return from Ayers goes just out of bounds, and the the Carroll faithful rather want that one back. Ooh, that was awfully close there, Laura.
It was. And not a good angle for us to call.
And no replay in high school volleyball either, nor challenges. Grace Ayers tries to keep it in play that time, but there's Swan for the dig. And an awkward sequence there for Carroll, and an unforced error gives a point to the Gophers.
Coach Crum won't be happy with that. That was a money ball. Nice little free ball over. They should have been cashing that in.
Short serve here again from the Gophers. Kind of a miscommunication there on the return. Nice set. Swan with the tap. Nothing there. Ayers on the return. And just kind of an awkward set there from Swan. And the kill goes to Grace Ayers again. So here is Ali Pontigo, the junior player here for the Cougars. Swan from the back line. Ayers, long on the return. Swan lets it go. Again, Lindsey Charles in her third season as the head coach of the Gophers, fifth year coaching in the high school ranks overall, after having taken some time off from high school coaching to coach the Boiler Juniors over in Lafayette. She won a sectional title at Harrison of West Lafayette before transitioning to club. Swan trying to find the space in the middle, as is Ayers. And a hard hit. And a whistle before, and it appears to be a point to the Gophers.
Not sure what the call was there, but
did not hear a whistle.
Didn't hear a whistle, didn't see a call, but apparently everyone in the gym knows what it was.
So a timeout on the floor. Looks like it's been taken here by Carroll, as Clinton Prairie is rallying right now in the middle of this set number 3. So Ardente Dental is a team of professional smile makers dedicated to leading the community to optimal health. Straighten your smile and improve your confidence today by contacting Ardente Dental at 765-654-7222 or visit ardentedental.com. Once again, alongside Laura Archibald, I'm Kurt Darling here. Laura, so early on in this set, you saw lots of errors, lots of just overall bad play here from Clinton Prairie, but really they've kind of started to reel things in a little bit here, trying to stop the bleeding to at least keep the advantage when we go to a fourth set.
Yeah, really, that's been the difference, is they have cut down on their unforced errors. And they take the ball back to Carroll, who then has made some unforced errors. You know, we haven't seen any really long rallies here. Neither team can seem to sustain play very long without unforced errors. So I think if you can keep it together on your side for very long, you're going to get the point.
Swan to swan action there. Here's Ayers. Nice dig by Wilson. Swan tries to slip it over, but right into the net it goes. Not exactly what you want out of a timeout.
No, and this rotation, I think they're really hurting for offense on the front row. You've seen them set Swan in the back almost every single time.
So a 5-point advantage here for the Cougars. And there was Brooks with a nice little tap.
Yeah, they have both Swans in the back row on this rotation, and just gives them very, very limited offense.
There was Haley Bowman finding the back corner on a well-struck ball. Haley Bowman, 67 kills coming into tonight. She had 59 of those in only a handful of games played all of last season as a sophomore. Abby Swan gets the luck of the roll right there. Actually, that was Caitlin Beck. Nine kills this season, 32% on the kill percentage for her so far this year. Awkward on the return. Clinton tries to take advantage. Here's an opportunity for the Gophers. Sydney Swan up front, and on the change-up hit finds the opening.
That roll shot is working tonight for sure. It was a nice pass by Julia Stillwell to set that up.
And you could tell she jumped as if she was going to load that thing up and then just rolled it on over. Bowman. Dig from Wilson. Swan again. On the short hit. Well read by Clinton Prairie. Close to the net. And a miscue by Avery Brooks. Gives it back to the Carroll Cougars. Almost like they heard you here, Laura. They're starting to play a little bit more up front, are the Gophers. Brooks. Swan to Swan. And it's been working for her all night here, Laura.
It has, and as long as it's working, keep doing it. And why Sydney is so good at that, you made mention of it a minute ago, is she does not change her approach. She does not change her arm swing. You cannot read that. And so everybody's back, ready to dig that really hard hit, and their momentum has to completely change, and that's a hard thing to do. So that's why she is so good and very effective at that roll shot and tip.
Bowman misses the back corner that time after an identical shot from earlier was true. Meanwhile, Avery Brooks continuing to serve here. Here's the setup for Bowman. Oh, and the block just slips over the fingers. Looked like that may have been Marcinko or Good up front there, just miscuing on that.
They're just so early on every block. They're on their way down, and they're just not tall enough to be able to handle that mistiming.
Tegan Kovaris puts the ball in play for Carroll. Bowman. Return. Just catches the back corner. What a shot there from Bowman. Nicely struck by the junior. And another timeout here as we are at 23-18 here in the middle of this third set as we are knotted up at one game apiece. So Laura, right now you see Clinton Prairie making this a set, but right now Carroll, they're doing literally just enough to keep Clinton Prairie at arm's length.
Yeah, Clinton Prairie really struggles when they have Sydney Swan in the back row. As soon as she moves up front, they make some momentum. They gain on Carroll. The minute she goes to the back row, Carroll gets the momentum again. And so really it's that swing back and forth of momentum, and that's what you've seen all game here. Every time that she's in the back row, Carroll gets points. Every time she's in the front row, Prairie gets points. So I think really it's going to matter who gets the momentum here at the end of the game.
You made mention.
And right now, unfortunately for Clinton Prairie, she's in the back row.
You made mention of how these teams are highly competitive in conference play. They're competitive in postseason play as well. Carroll lost to Clinton Prairie in the sectional semifinal last year in straight sets after the Cougars had won their regular season meeting. Carroll is 10-5 versus Clinton Prairie since 2013.
Yeah, Carroll has really, Denny has done a great job of building a program there. Carroll used to be a terrible volleyball program, frankly. They were the team that no one wanted to play. It wasn't any fun. But Denny came in, and he runs a great club program there. He's really built that program from the ground up, starting with his elementary kids and getting them all playing in the off-season. And he's really built this program, and he's made Carroll a very competitive volleyball program. He's done an excellent job there.
An excellent kill by Sydney Swan on the previous point. And an unfortunate shot over the net right there gives set point here to Carroll.
Clinton Prairie has Sydney on the front row. You just have to wonder, is it too little too late when Carroll has game point?
You got to win by 2 in every set. As Bowman puts it in play, Swan gets the serve right back to Clinton Prairie. So too little too late possibly, but the set's not over. As Sydney Swan already has 5 kills in the last 2 sets. Swan now putting it in play. From the back line, and that changeup over the net from Tegan Cougars gives set number 3 to Carroll. 2-1 now in favor of the Cougars. 2 in a row for Carroll as we go to set number 4. Coming at you next, set number 4 right here on the ISC Sports Network.
Finding affordable, quality reproductive health care isn't always easy. Did you know that there's now a family planning and reproductive health clinic in our area that is income-based? Services include Pap tests, breast cancer screenings, pregnancy tests, sexually transmitted infection and HIV testing, same-day birth control placement, filled prescriptions, and free condoms. Services are on an income-based sliding scale. Visit 1234 Rossville Avenue or call 659-6063 for more information or to schedule an appointment.
Hi, I'm Query.
And I'm Schultz.
And of course, we do the incredibly creatively and appropriately named Query and Schultz program every Monday on ISC Sports Network. Derek, it airs at what time?
7:30.
Okay, every Monday at 7:30. We're now on season number 2, and if history tells us anything, catch us now because you never know when they pull the plug on it.
Why would you say that?
Because it's happened
That's not
before.
going to happen here. Comcast, Xfinity 81, ISCSportsNetwork.com, ISC Sports Network, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, so many places to watch Query and Schultz, 7:30 on Monday.
Your life is on the go. Now your viewing habits can be on the go. With the ISC Sports Network app, your team is at your fingertips. You can download years' worth of content from the ISC Sports Network library. High school, college, special events, weekly and monthly shows, wherever you find your favorite app. And you can always find out more information at ISCSportsNetwork.com.
For the ultimate Wi-Fi experience, you need a managed Wi-Fi service with advanced Blast Wi-Fi. Blast Wi-Fi systems provide ultimate coverage, ultimate performance, and ultimate power all the time. Available from Mulberry Telecommunications, Blast Wi-Fi systems feature the latest Wi-Fi 6 technology and are equipped with unrivaled bandwidth and 4 times more simultaneous connections so you can connect tons of devices throughout your home with no lag and no downtime. Plus, with 24/7 support and remote troubleshooting, you can rest assured that Mulberry Telecommunications is always here to help you should any issues arise. It's the ultimate Wi-Fi experience, and it's a blast. Blast Wi-Fi is now included with Mulberry Telecommunications fiber internet packages. Contact Mulberry Telecommunications at 296-2885 today to get started.
Well, Clinton Prairie won the first set, but the Carroll Cougars are now 2 sets in a row to take the lead in this match as we go to set number 4 in Hoosier Heartland Conference play. Welcome back to Clinton Prairie High School alongside Laura Archibald. I'm Kurt Darling. Laura, basically it's crunch time now for the Gophers as you have Carroll in position to possibly take this match if you don't win this next set right here.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing I think really shows is that Carroll has a tournament under their belt and Clinton Prairie does not. Carroll just seems to be gelling better, moving better, communicating better. You can tell they've been on the floor more. They have a couple floor generals out there in Bowman and Ayers. You can just tell that they have 7 games under their belt and Prairie has 2. And the 2 games that Prairie's had, they've had 2 completely different lineups. And it's very obvious. So I think Clinton Prairie will be fine. They just have to work the kinks out. This is only the second time they've used this lineup. And you can see there's hesitation. People don't know exactly who's going to get that ball. They haven't played next to that person. What Clinton Prairie really needs is a tournament. They do. They need a tournament to play together and several games right in a row, get used to the lineup.
Of course, Carroll, they opened their season with a tournament, which is a very big benefit for them. They go 2-2 in that tournament. They played 4 games on August 13th before they had their first regular season game at Caston, which was a loss there in straight sets. But then on the other side, as we see almost a big point right there, finally it's there for the Gophers. But on the other side, though, Laura, when you're talking about scheduling, Clinton Prairie starts the season at North Montgomery. Then they have 5 days off before just their second match of the year.
Yeah, when I was coaching, I liked to have an early season tournament. I really did. I like to have one in that first or second Saturday so that you get out there, you can try different lineups. This is hard. When you've only had 3 games in 2 weeks, it's hard to gel. It's hard to try those new lineups. So, I like the approach Carroll has with a tourney early versus what Clinton Prairie's done here because it really stretches out those days between and really getting to let the players experience those lineups on a game level. Practice is different, it is. So I think they'll look much better after they have a tournament. I really do.
So here's Marissa Pontigo getting set to put things back in play as we have the official talking with the scores table here just to make sure they got everything all squared away. So back and forth we've gone here early in the first couple points in set number 4. Clinton Prairie can tie this thing up to send it to a 5th decisive set, or Carroll can win this one and take the match in 4. And it so looks like, again, the officials are kind of trying to sort out some subbing.
Looks like lineup issues for sure.
And you mentioned it off air, Laura, is the fact that Clinton Prairie technically kind of got away with the one right there with Sydney Swan getting that final serve for Clinton Prairie in the end of the last set.
Yeah, she'd only been on the front row 2 rotations. It didn't end up mattering because Carroll won the point, but you saw the bench over there scurrying. They knew. So it was going to happen one way or the other. And you need to keep Swan on the front row as long as you can. Don't hurry her to the back for sure. I think they've got it settled.
It would appear that way here. So here's Pontigo, the senior. Short serve. And Clinton Prairie has to bail out of it. Cross court now to Bowman. And a missed time on the dig between Swan and Wilson. Gives a point to Carroll.
That's one of those miscommunications. Both of those players are excellent defensive players. Not used to playing next to each other. Just looked to see who was going to get that ball.
And an ace here for Pontigo. Her 16th on the season.
She's leading this Carroll team in aces.
And just a season ago as a junior, she had 38 on the season.
And already was 16 this early in the season.
On the pusher there from Brooks, and it's good.
I think definitely one thing Denny Crum can take away from tonight is really has to work on his short defense. It's always nice when you come away from a game as a coach with a few concrete things to work on, and that is certainly one thing he can walk away with tonight. I guarantee you they're going to work on that in practice tomorrow.
Kylie Wilson puts it in play, and it results in an ace. Kylie Wilson, the younger of the two Wilson sisters on this squad, a sophomore, and that is her first ace of the season. And follows it up with a service error. So again, not much breakaway from either of these teams. The only real breakaway that Clinton Prairie has dealt with so far this week was when they were up 20-9 on Faith Christian in set number 2, as Swan gets another kill right there. But then they allowed Faith Christian right back into that one, and Faith Christian ended up taking that set.
They did. Nice roll shot again by Swan. Once again, so effective because she has the same aggressive arm swing, same aggressive approach.
Haven Wilson now. And a little long on that one from Allie Pontigo, the elder of the Pontigo sisters on this Carroll squad. Actually, the younger. Marissa Pontigo, the senior, Allie Pontigo, the junior. Serving the lead now for Clinton Prairie. And a whistle. Looks like we had a double hit violation. And that is an easy point for the Gophers. And if you're Clinton Prairie, you certainly want to take those whenever you can get them. Based on how, again, as you mentioned, Laura, the inconsistency has just been another issue that Clinton Prairie still has to iron out.
Yes, and Carroll has had several double hits from their setter tonight. That one was not exactly pretty. I'm a little surprised by that. Usually, Carroll has very clean hands on their setters. I know that this young lady doesn't particularly have a lot of experience setting at this level, but I'm kind of surprised by that, to be honest. I think that's her third or fourth double hit call.
Nice block at the net. Grace Good, along with a little bit of help from Swan. And there's your front line play that you were looking for, Laura.
Yeah, much better timing on that block.
Wilson continues the serve. Pontigo cross court, again long on the attack.
And in Clinton Prairie's defense, it's really difficult to go from a team like Faith, who has big hitters with quick arm swings, to Carroll, who has hitters with much slower arm swings. You see them early all night long. Maybe they're finally adjusting a little bit. But Faith has very quick arm swings on their hitters. Carroll has much slower arm swings. And we've just seen Clinton Prairie all night long be early on those blocks, and that's probably why they're just having a little bit of trouble making that adjustment.
Avery Brooks serving, and a timeout called right here as Carroll needs to try and settle down as we keep going through this fourth set. So Mulberry Telecommunications currently offers service in Mulberry, Dayton, rural Lafayette, rural Frankfort, and other communities in Clinton and Tippecanoe County. Fiber internet packages start at just $49.99 per month. For more information, visit mintel.net. Mulberry Telecommunications. It's the best gig in town. Also coming to Flora Indeed are those fiber packages where you can watch your Cougars with unfettered internet access right here on the ISC Sports Network, along with a whole bunch of other sports. Football as well. The Cougars getting a big win over Tri-County last Friday. And now the Cougars looking to try and put this one away, down 6 points here in the middle of set number 4.
Clinton Prairie's looked better in this stretch than they've looked all night. Very consistent, and that's what Coach Charles wants to see out of this team.
And Pontigo again pushing the attack long. That's the 3rd time in a row that she's pushed it too far. And just getting the tip as it breaks the plane in a block, technically down in the book right there from the front line of Clinton Prairie. That's a heads-up play there.
That was great. And, you know, good play. It was so tight. If you would have tried to swing at that, you're going to get a net violation. Wonderful job to go up with 2 hands and just put down as a block. It's so tempting when you see those coming to try to swing at them, but to just go up there and block, that was a much better call on the part of Sydney Swan.
Clinton Prairie on a rally here. Here's Bowman trying to break that rally. And Swan has to let it go, and they finally break the rally. Kind of a broadcaster's jinx right there. I'll take responsibility for that. But still, an excellent rally there by Clinton Prairie to at least give themselves a little bit of a cushion.
And really not a bad swing by Swan. That was wide open if it was 6 inches shorter. So it was a good try on her part. She was definitely going for what was wide open.
Short hit there from Good. And the return is long.
Carroll's going to have to clean their game up. They're now the ones making multiple unforced errors. So if they want to get back in this game, they're going to have to clean their game up, decrease their number of unforced errors.
Grace Good, who's second on the team in digs, actually their best server this season. She had 8 aces to lead the Gophers coming into this one.
And, you know, one of those things that statistics doesn't always show is how many serves she has that aren't aces, but that the other team just can't pass well. And so, you know, when I was watching them against Faith, the recording against Faith the other night, I mean, so many times they were able to pass the ball, but they weren't able to pass it well enough to set up their offense. She just did a phenomenal job serving the other night.
And there's Beck with the quick push. Ayers on the return. Good, setting up Brooks. Rather Swan, nothing there. Here's Sydney Swan trying to find the opening, still nothing there. Good. Swan again, blocked at the net. Nice play by Pontigo. The Pontigo sisters sharing a block right there.
That was some nice hang time on that one.
That's Ali Pontigo's second block of the night. Good to Abby Swan. Pontigo cross court now to Ayers. Nice dig in the backcourt, but a quick return up front by Ayers, and it results in a point. Heads up play by Grace Ayers to just put it right back in play for the Gophers. Kind of catching Wilson off guard, for the Cougars. As Wilson just caught off guard right there for Clinton Prairie. Sydney Swan with that roll shot. When you're backed up against the wall, that's just what she goes to, and it works.
And she's had far more kills off of roll shots than hard hits tonight, so.
Which is certainly unusual for a player that plays the way she does.
She's smart, though. She really is.
And there's an ace as well for Swan, so she's getting the scoring racked up however she can get it.
Sydney's not one of those players who thinks she has to go up and kill the ball every time. She's a very smart player. She looks through that net. She sees the court well, and she will do what she has to do to get a kill. And another ace for her, 2 in a row.
Sydney Swan, voted a preseason IHSAA player to watch. Also a basketball player here for Clinton Prairie. 3 aces in a row, a trifecta for Sydney Swan. Doubles up the score here for Clinton Prairie. And needless to say, a timely timeout here for Carroll as they try to figure some things out to break a Clinton Prairie rally, much like we saw in the first set. Clinton Prairie well out in front here in this one.
Volleyball's such a momentum game, and that's what we've seen tonight. Clinton Prairie had all the momentum in game 1, Carroll in game 2 and 3, and now game 4 has been Clinton Prairie the whole entire time.
You could have fooled me with it being a game of momentum, though, based off of that Faith Christian match, because there was hardly any momentum built off of either side. It was one of those grinders that was literally kind of like nails on a chalkboard, but at the same time exciting to watch.
It was a great match. I watched it recorded. I wish I was there live, but I watched it recorded, and it was fantastic. I have a niece who plays for Faith, and so I was getting the score updates on my phone, and so when I went back to watch it, I had already knew the outcome, but if I wouldn't have known the outcome, it certainly would have been a nail-biter for sure.
Faith Christian has certainly built up a heck of a program as a 1A school over the last decade or so. Meanwhile, Clinton Prairie trying to rebuild things a little bit here. They've won 25 sectional titles in their history, as well as winning 3 state championships, 1 in the 80s and 2 in the late 90s. Nice block at the net by the Gophers.
I think the nice thing about Faith is, you know, they have a lot of girls playing in the off season, but they probably have the absolute best setter in the area. Absolutely.
By far.
Setters are one of those things that get overlooked and people don't necessarily even notice, but she is absolutely phenomenal.
Speaking of setters, Abby Swan, that is her forte for this Gophers squad, but she gets a kill right there on the short hit. And as you mentioned earlier, you know, Sydney Swan getting the primary duties of those kills as we get an ace from Haven Wilson. But Abby Swan is developing into a very good attacker in her own right as a sophomore.
Yeah, she really always has been a good attacker. I coached her in club, and she is absolutely a phenomenal hitter. But she's always been needed as a setter because she's a good setter as well. She's one of those utility players. You could put her she could be a libero, she could be a setter, she could be a hitter for you. The problem is you just need more of her. You know, you need 3 Abby Swans on every team, and unfortunately they only have one of her. So Coach Charles is going to use her in whatever role she needs. And, you know, what she's playing this year may not be what she plays next year, and it may not be what she plays her senior year, but she is one of those players who can literally play any position on the floor.
So I hope I don't have another broadcaster's jinx right here, but I'm having some deja vu because in the Faith Christian match, Clinton Prairie was up in the second set 20-9. Well, it was just 20-9 before that point for Carroll, and Faith Christian came back and won that set, and there's another point here for Carroll.
They did. I bet Clinton Prairie hopes they don't have deja vu either. I don't know if they have if they have 2 of those nail biters in them this week.
Brooks has to bail it out, and it goes long again. And needless to say, as Gene Kesterson made the point in the broadcast on Tuesday, is about how it doesn't matter how far ahead you are in a set of volleyball, the game is not over until you hit that 25th point.
And even then, it's not over until you've got up by 2 after 25.
Finally, a kill there for Swan.
I've seen some long games already this season. I've witnessed a couple 30-plus ones already. So,
again, it's a good thing you weren't live for that Faith Christian game. Then we had set number 3 decided 30-28.
Yeah, those are long nights.
Cross-court pass to Bowman.
And one advantage Faith had there was they do have a lot of depth on their bench.
Push shot there from Cougars. Swan has to bail it out. Pontigo. Dug by Swan. The other Swan gets it back up top to Brooks. Bowman from the far side of the court. Well blocked there at the net by the Gophers. Here's Good with the roll. Nothing there. Again, a good hit there by Good. She just ran out of real estate.
And Carroll's just chipping away.
Pontigo with the short serve. Swan, good hit there from Brooks. Bowman on the return and slips it through the blockers, and you see the frustration right there by Avery Brooks.
And you have to feel for Avery Brooks. We don't have heights listed on our roster, but she is an undersized player to be playing in the middle there. But she does a good job. She's a great athlete. She jumps well, but she's probably going to be shorter than every other player she plays in the middle. So, she does a great job for the height that she is. But you have to feel for her because she is always going to be going up against people who are significantly taller than her.
The roll shot there from Brooks again. Cross court to good. Nothing there. So a long rally here. Swan to the elder Swan. And another good dig there by Ayers. Bowman. Swan. Pushed long, and a nice, well-read strike there from the Gophers.
And really, that was set up by Abby Swan. Watch this set. Look at her jump set and get that ball that was going to go right into the net out and make a beautiful set out of it.
And you mentioned Avery Brooks. Kind of frustrating play there up there at the top, but she gets a nice little sweep to get the kill. But again, another service error by Clinton Prairie. Just stifles any kind of momentum that they can have here in this decisive part of the set. So here's Tegan Cougars, a sophomore. Short serve again. Swan to Swan with authority, getting it right back here for the Gophers.
They like that combination for good reason. Anything Swan to Swan tends to go well.
They've only had their entire lives to perfect it.
True.
And so now it looks like we're getting a few substitutions here from Clinton Prairie as Haven Wilson will come out as the libero. And here's Brooks to serve it up. Just slips it over the net. And a block at the net there by the front line of the Gophers gives set point to Clinton Prairie. And that just went into the net. So the block was insurance. So Clinton Prairie here to send it to a decisive fifth set. And an ace to do just that for Avery Brooks. 2 sets apiece again as Clinton Prairie goes 2 nights in a row where they go to 5 sets to try and decide a match that they certainly need. One timeout. Back here in a moment for set number 5 on the ISC Sports Network.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC, local lives here.
Have you heard? Titmont and Wintech have joined forces to build a stunningly fast fiber optic internet service with no data caps and the best customer service from a company you know and trust. Sign up today and follow our progress at join.wintech.com. Wintech, powered by Titmont, is building the future in Linden and New Richmond. We offer 3 easy and affordable packages with superior reliability, customer service, and unlimited usage. Order service today and get free installation at join.wintech.com.
This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and we're here to make sure that all of this remains yours.
This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
Champions of Marion County. Unbelievable!
leading up to that last name. Wabash has the lead for the first time today. So that was going to be a highlight reel. Oh, baby.
Yeah, you can celebrate after that. Well, let's do 5 sets again here if you're a Clinton Prairie fan. Welcome back on the ISC Sports Network. Laura, Archibald, Kurt Darling here with you. First set to Clinton Prairie, the next 2 to Carroll, and then the set number 4 to Clinton Prairie. So, Laura, we were just talking about this off air. You know, it's a very tough week here if you're a Clinton Prairie fan because of the fact that you have 2 5-set games in a row now. Then you go into another 6-day layoff before you take on Harrison of West Lafayette to start the month of September.
Yeah, they're going to need the 6-day layoff after these 2 5-game matches, but you hate to have that long break. I think if I'm coaching, I hate that long break. You know, early on, you don't want these big, long breaks because you're not getting that cohesiveness. Yeah, you're getting a lot of practice time in, but you're not getting a lot of playing time as a coach to see the things that you need to adjust. You know, if I was Coach Charles, I would look at that schedule next year and try to get some of those games moved up in the season, you know, because that means you got to be cramming a lot of games in mid and late season. And, you know, also, you got to look at injuries and wear and tear on body. You don't want wear and tear on bodies late in the season when you're going into tournament time.
So at Defining Looks, we know that shopping for a wig can be intimidating. We strive to make your experience fabulous and ensure you receive the best quality service available. For more information, visit defininglooks.com. Defining Looks, be your own kind of beautiful. So the Gophers going to be serving up set number 5 here. We only play to 15 instead of 25 here. You still have to win by 2 here in the decisive 5th set.
It'll be interesting to see if fatigue is an issue.
Especially after going 5 sets against Faith Christian back on Tuesday. So Abby Swan puts it in play, and quick 3 hits there for Clinton Prairie. They have to bail it out. And here's Ayers. Kind of a changed-up return. Good with the roller. Back across court to Ayers. Good dig. And good trying another one. But that back line of Carroll has been impenetrable here. And there's Ayers penetrating the block there for the Gophers to get point number 1 of this 5th set. And as we were talking about scheduling here, Laura, quite the opposite here for the Carroll Cougars. You have 3 matches here for Clinton Prairie in the month of August. Carroll, they will have had 9 by the time we exit the month of August.
Yeah, see, that is a completely different ballgame. And by the time they get out of August, Coach Crum is going to have a really good idea where he's going with this team, where he's going with this lineup. You know, the only thing that throws a wrench in is if you get an injury, and you adjust to that, and that's the name of the game. That happens all season long. So, you know, if I'm Coach Crum, that makes me happy. I like where I'm at the end of August. If I'm Coach Charles, I'm not happy with that. 3 games at the end of August, yeah, that's really hard to kind of know where you're going.
The Carroll Cougars will next have Frontier as another service error gives a point to the Cougars, but they'll next have Frontier to kick off another tournament before they move on that same day to another game to which they will await their next opponent. And then they will then close things out against Wabash on August 30th. So, correction, they will have at least 10 matches before the end of August.
Yeah, I mean, that's really where you want to be. You know, you want to look at having a 3rd done. That's really what you want to look at because, you know, you want to be evenly spaced between now and sectional time.
Avery Brooks getting another kill right there off of the missed dig for the Cougars. And it will be Brooks again to serve. She has had a good night serving. She has an ace to her credit. But also still just a handful of service errors that as well that have certainly been a thorn in the side of this Gophers squad. Having to chase it down. Bowman sets it over. A big dig from Brooks in the backcourt. But it falls. A fortunate point, to say the least, there for the Gophers. And just kind of a misstep right there by the sophomore Stancard on the front line. Up top, nice block, a solo block there by Caitlin Beck. And that is something that they keep track of in stats. You have total blocks where you have one that's assisted. That is all Caitlin Beck right there, and a big go-ahead point for the Gophers.
It is, and that may be exactly what they needed. That's exciting. That might get that Gopher team pumped up.
And so the timeout on the floor here called by Carroll, and probably a very well-timed timeout off of that solo block from Carroll, from Beck, as you mentioned there, Laura. So now if you're Coach Laura Charles, what do you tell your team here in this instance where you were in a similar situation 2 nights ago? Is there anything different that you do here?
You stay aggressive and you cut out the unforced errors. Keep taking the ball to Carroll. Let them make the errors. Everything's up. Never stop the effort. Keep taking the ball to him. Be aggressive, aggressive, aggressive. I'd say you hit a couple hard, then roll that ball over the net again, because we know they're very susceptible to that roll shot.
In other words, let Sydney Swan do what Sydney Swan does.
Absolutely.
She has had another excellent night as well. 47 kills coming into the night just in 2 matches, mind you. A 49.5% kill percentage.
And I think she's improved on that percentage tonight.
And Sydney Swan going for the dig right there, and that was just a well-struck changeup from Bowman to get a much-needed kill for the Cougars. That was off of a block. Not much you can do off of that one.
No. That's definitely something Coach Charles can walk away with tonight, is getting her team to adjust to arm swings. In this game, you're going to play different teams with different types of arm swings, different speeds of arm swings, and be able to adjust to that right away in a match and not be adjusting in game 5 is super important, and that's something they have not done well tonight.
And that was a well-placed attack from Haley Bowman right in the open space, just off of the slow one again, and on the back line, unable to dig. So here's Cougars again, 10 aces coming into this contest. She has another one tonight to make it 11, but now another unforced error for Carroll on the serve. And so once again, you put the ball in the hands of Grace Good, who statistically has been the best server through these first 2 matches for Clinton Prairie, and another unforced error by the Gophers.
If you're either coach, you want to win this game because you play better, not because you make less errors. And at this point, this is a game of who's making less errors.
As you say, 3 service errors in a row, 2 for Carroll, 1 for Clinton Prairie over the last 3 points.
Yeah, I can't believe that either coach is happy with the level of play right now.
The short serve from Swan. Here's Ayers. Good. Sets up the younger Swan, trying the roller. And some back and forth play again at the net. Falls again in favor of Carroll. That was Beck right there, along with some help from Ayers, who just lost her footing. Good with the set to Swan, and just squeaking it past right close to the net for a point. Just some good hand placement.
Absolutely.
There you saw the Pontigo sisters going up for the block, and Swan reading it beautifully.
And they really did their job. They took that middle of the court out. Unfortunately, their defensive player was hiding behind the block instead of staying outside of that to play defense.
Good. Setting up Swan again on the other side of the Pontigo sisters this time. Back-to-back kills here for Abby Swan.
And that was left-handed nonetheless.
Pontigo up top now to Ayers. Well dug by Swan. Swan setting it up for herself. 3 straight kills for Abby Swan. And now we finally have a little bit of a break as Clinton Prairie's up by 2 in this 5th set.
What I like about this is it's aggressive play by Abby Swan. This isn't Carroll just making errors for Clinton Prairie to get points. This is Clinton Prairie being aggressive and earning 3 straight points.
So here's Wilson. Dug by Swan. Wilson has to send it back over. Here's an opportunity for the Cougars. Ayers loads it up. Dig by Swan. And Brooks sends it back over again. Ayers. Nicely struck just out of the reach for an awkward dig from Haven Wilson. And the kill goes to Ayers. And believe it or not, Grace Ayers has been relatively quiet on the attacking. It's mostly gone through Haley Bowman tonight for Carroll.
It has, that's for sure. I think the passing has been not nearly as good when Grace Ayers is on the front row. She hasn't had nearly as many opportunities.
And another service error for Carroll.
It's interesting. The score seems closer than what it feels like when you're watching the play. Clinton Prairie seemed much more dominant than just a 2-point lead to me.
So another timeout called here on the floor. And just remember, we have more high school football action coming at you tomorrow night. Frankfort taking on Clinton Prairie. Going to be right here on the ISC Sports Network. You can join Brad Huber on the call for that one. Kickoff at 7 o'clock right here on the ISC Sports Network. Once again, alongside Laura Archibald, I'm Kurt Darling here. And now, Laura, you just see Coach Charles calmly preaching some strategy to the team right now here with 5 points left to give up here for this fifth set.
I think she's just got to be talking to them about consistency. Don't let up. They've been playing very, very well the last 7-8 points. Be consistent, stay aggressive, don't make unforced errors, and they'll win this match. Like I said, it really, the 10-8 doesn't really reflect how much better Clinton Prairie has played than Carroll in this game. So I think just stay with what you're doing, and you'll come out on top.
Again, Clinton Prairie looking for a bounce-back win to go back above 500 here. And you're certainly going to help things along right that with an excellent serve from Abby Swan. She has accounted for the last 4 points in a row for the Gophers.
She has. She has really stepped up. We have to remember, this is a sophomore. She plays like a senior. She is a sophomore. It's amazing how good she really is.
And the ball just finding the right crack in the armor there of Clinton Prairie, point to Carroll.
I think it'll be interesting to see what she does the next 2 years. She's the younger sister. She's always been in the shadow of Sydney. It'll be very interesting to see how she steps up in the next 2 years when she's no longer in that shadow.
There's Sydney Swan, whose shadow is being casted on the rest of this team. Leading the team in kills tonight. She gets another one. No, it goes just out of bounds, though, but it's attacks like that have certainly helped. And another timeout here going to be taken by Clinton Prairie.
Looks like it could be another long night, back and forth.
Indeed it is. And, we've touched on this all match long here, Laura, is about how you go 5 sets, losing to Faith Christian, a grinder of a match from that one. This one has not been as much of a grinder, but nevertheless, it can still be fatiguing going the full distance in one of these matches.
Absolutely, and they've only had one night between 5-game matches, and, it does take its toll on you. I mean, for sure, and you can tell, like when they're going up to block, they're really not getting up and over the net. That's why we're seeing a lot of blocking errors. You just see it in the little things, timing, things like that. I don't see the fatigue in Carroll as much, so it'll be interesting to see how the next few points plays out.
So to start the season, Clinton Prairie, as you see, good with the roller right there. And an opportunity here for the Gophers. And nothing doing there. Quick hit from Pontigo. Pushed back over by Brooks.
Clinton Prairie needs to be more aggressive. That's 2 free balls they've sent over in a row. And they really need to be attacking the ball.
Bowman nearly blocked twice in a row. Instead, she gets a big kill to tie things up here in this set. And Bowman again finding that back corner. She knows how to find that.